Hey everybody, how's it going? Let's talk about your home recording studio. Today I'm going to do a review that I've actually been wanting to do for quite a long time. I've been asked about this device for a while now. I've been wanting to get my hands on one, so I did. Today I'm going to do a review of the Neewer BM-800 microphone. Now this one happens to be under the Neewer, whatever brand name. These are made under all sorts of brand names. I get the impression that they're just all made in the same factory and just get different branding slapped on them. They're made in China. It is a very, very curiously affordable condenser, like a studio style condenser microphone. So let's tear this thing open and see what's inside the box here. Not a very exciting box, so I'm not going to bother with another camera. Let's just kind of rip this thing open real quick. All right, a little bit of documentation, and then, you know, there's everything in the box there. Great. All right, we get it. All right, so first thing I see in here is probably one of the least advisable cables in the cable world. I see it's an XLR to connect to the mic, but it adapts to, where's the other end? Yeah, there it is. It adapts to 3.5 millimeters. So you're going from a balanced connection to an unbalanced connection. So yeah, I can't really recommend this. But if you don't have an audio interface, you just want to plug it straight into your computer, well, you can't do that either, because you have to have a phantom power supply, because this is a condenser style microphone. So honestly, I think the cable, you can, if you have an audio interface, it would, I mean, even if you don't, buy a Behringer UMC-22 or something, or a, you know, one of these Lexicon Alphas or something, and you know, a nice cheap audio interface. It won't cost much more than a power supply would, and it'll give you a way better results, guaranteed. All right, well, yeah, we get a windscreen. We get a shock mount, which is kind of cool. Here, let's take a look at this real quick. Yeah, it's actually really not a bad looking shock mount there. It appears to be metal, yeah, so at least it's all metal. I like the release mechanism on this. MXL does the same thing. I like this little, you just pinch it, and I'm not exactly sure if you can tell what it's doing there, but you pinch it and it opens it up, you drop the mic in, you let go, it holds onto the mic. I really like that kind of a release mechanism, as long as it's a trustworthy, strong enough spring to hold the mic dependably. It looks like it comes with a little thread adapter in the shock mount here. So here, let's go ahead and take that out. I'm just going to use my thumbnail. You can use a coin or something. So if this doesn't fit your microphone stand right out of the box, that's why. And it has a little thread adapter. So it goes from, is it 3/8 or 5/8? I always forget what that size is, but this is the size that most mic stands in the US are going to use, is without the adapter in it. So if it doesn't fit, take that little thing out, try again. All right, and now for the microphone itself. So let's take a look at this little guy. It is actually a petite little mic. You know, again, this is the Neewer, whatever. I'm going to call it Neewer. If that's not how you pronounce it, just substitute your own pronunciation in your head. So this is the Neewer branded one. So they call it the NW-800, but it's the same BM-800 that you see in a million places. It's got a very fancy looking gold grill on it. It looks like there must be some sort of maybe some sort of windscreen material behind the grill, because I can't see the capsule at all through the grill. So here, let's see if we can get a little bit of focus on there and just take a quick look-see. Oh, he's trying to focus. There he is. So yeah, you know, you get a nice little close-up of him there. You know, it is actually kind of sharp looking. It's got this matte black finish on the body. It's got this super snazzy looking gold grill on the bottom side there. You got your XLR output for your cable, and that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it. There's no pad switch, there's no low cut switch. It's single pattern, not multi-pattern, so nothing too fancy going on here. All right, well, let's grab a handy mic stand here, and let's just make sure the old shock mount screws on. Yep, it goes right on to a standard mic stand. Standard in the US, at least. I think the 3/8 or 5/8, whatever. The other size is a little more common elsewhere, but the standard 1/2 inch is standard here in the US. All right, yeah, works pretty good. Got a little knob, you can adjust it, you know, whichever way. Let's do about there. Again, I love this spring-loaded pinch mounting mechanism. Nice and easy to, you just hold it open, drop the mic in until it's where you want it, let go, and there you go. That's all there is to it. All right, rather than the crappy XLR to 3/8 or XLR to 3.5 millimeter cable that came with it, I'm not going to bother with that. I want to plug it into my audio interface. So I am going to use just your standard XLR to XLR cable here. Let's plug her in. Oh yeah, it's got a nice tight grip on the cable there, clicked into place and everything. All right, I like it. Rotate that so it's actually facing me. All right, yeah, I'm just going to go into one of the inputs of my audio interface. I'm going to use the built-in preamp on my interface. This is an RME 5-face UCX, so it's got a really nice clean preamp to it. You know, it's very clean, articulate. It's not colored. It's not a colorful preamp at all. So you should get a pretty good idea of how this thing actually sounds. Okay, let's see here. Now, I guess I need phantom power for it. This is a condenser microphone, so it's gonna need 48 volts of phantom power. If your preamp or your audio interface or whatever doesn't supply that, then you're going to need some sort of external power supply in order to feed this thing the voltage it needs in order to work. So I'm gonna just through software turn on the phantom power for that input on my interface. 48 volts, there it goes. All right, I still just have the gain set to right where it was with whatever mic I had plugged in last time. So I do actually see a little bit of activity there. Okay, all right, I'm gonna adjust the gain a little bit, and here, let me take this thing with me. Okay, yeah, I mean, it looks like I'm getting an all right signal here. So I'm at 24 dB of gain, which isn't a whole lot. One of the features on my interface is this auto set, so I'm just gonna turn on auto set. I'm gonna crank this up, and it just kind of like a normal talking voice, speaking voice, every time it clips, it'll turn down the gain there. You can see it's just kind of turning it down. So if I talk loud, yeah, so we ended up back down at about 24 dB of gain as I was just talking loud to kind of set it. So let me turn auto set off. Now it won't change the gain as I'm talking here. All right, well, let me fire up a track in Reaper, and I'll use this as an input, this microphone as an input, and let's both listen for the first time how it sounds. Okay, new track, and yeah, analog 1, that is the input. I'm gonna arm it for recording. I'm gonna turn on monitoring. Gonna arm it for recording, and put on my headphones so I can hear what I'm doing. And hopefully I'll be able to hear something out of here. All right, there we go. Yeah, I can hear it now as I'm turning up my monitoring volume. You could probably hear me the whole time. All right, good. I can't say that first impressions are very good. It says I am facing directly into my monitor, my computer monitor, which is a big reflective surface, acoustically reflective. I've noticed even with my lavalier mic that it creates a little bit of comb filtering. So here, let me reposition. Pardon any bumps that you might hear. All right, so let me face away from my computer monitor here. And yeah, I can't say that I'm any more impressed. It's a little it's very mid-rangey. It doesn't really sound like the lows are in there at all. Yeah, let me just check and make sure. So there's no EQ on my monitoring in Reaper. Let me take a look over here, make sure there's no, I don't usually put EQ on the way in, so let me just make sure. Tap on EQ here. All the bands are zeroed out, no gain. Okay, yeah, so I'm not applying any EQ on the way in, and I'm not applying any EQ as I monitor. So yeah, I'm just monitoring straight off of it. So it's sensitive. It's nice and sensitive. So I got 24 dB of gain on it with my mic preamp, and that's it. I can't really say that it sounds terrific just monitoring straight through, but you know, we don't really have anything to compare it against. So I think what I'm gonna do, let me turn back around and face you guys. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it up against like my next cheapest mic. So I don't have just a bunch of super cheap mics hanging out here. So this thing cost $25 off of Amazon. I think it was 25, either 20 or 25. And all the other kind of BM-800, if you just get the mic, the same little kit that I got here with the cable, the shock mount, the windscreen, and the mic itself, yeah, they're all in that like $20 to $30 range or so. So I don't have anything else even remotely near that price point. The closest thing that I have is another Chinese-made mic, and that is an MXL 990. This is the original version. So there's the 990 there. This is the original version with no pad, no low cut or anything, you know, just like this little Neewer here. So this is about the closest thing I have to a fair fight. This thing retails, at least when I bought it, it retailed at about $60 US dollars. I got this off a musician's friend maybe in 2005 or something like that. So it's been, yeah, 10, 13 years or so. I've had this mic a long time. It was my first kind of condenser style mic. For the money, you know, I think it's fine. I don't love it, but I think it does a good job at its price point. All right, tell you what, I'm gonna go grab a stereo bar so I can get both of these microphones onto one mic stand. And excuse me, one moment. All right, so here's just kind of a quick look. So this is the MXL 990's shock mount, and you know, it uses that same pinch, spring-loaded. It just uses the kind of elasticity of this ring here as the mounting mechanism. Same thing. This is the Neewer, same kind of deal. And you know, just uses the little spring thing. So honestly, I actually really like that kind of a mounting mechanism. All right, so there we go. Yeah, there they both are in their shock mounts and everything. So one common mistake that beginners make sometime is not keeping track of which side is forward, which is the front of their mic. And so on both of these, it's where the logo is. If you don't see the logo while you're speaking into the mic, then you're speaking into the wrong side of the mic. And I know that sounds like kind of a dumb thing to make a note of here, but you'd be surprised. There's some relatively experienced folks that have made that mistake. They wonder, why does my mic sound different than it did last time I recorded? It sounds distant, and all I hear is the room. It's because they're, you know, yeah, so the shock mount on the MXL kind of hides it there, but yeah, it's because they're singing into the wrong end of the mic. It happens. All right, let me turn phantom power on for both of those guys. There we go. I'm going to do the same kind of gain auto set thing here. I'm going to crank up the gain on the MXL, crank up the gain on the Neewer. Oh. Test, 1, 2, test. Test, 1, 2, test. And so I'm pretty much equidistant from both of them. And just from this quick little test here, let me turn auto set off. It looks like the Neewer is mic 1 here, and the MXL is mic 2. It looks like the Neewer is actually a little more sensitive because it cranked the gain back down to that 24 that it cranked it down to last time I tried this, and the MXL only cranked it down to 32. So I think that'll at least give us a bit of a fair place here. That should keep them both at relatively the same perceived volume, hopefully. So facing both of them here, let's see about what we're peaking at. So yeah, about -17, -18. So I think that's a pretty fair balance of volume between the two. Okay, so in my headphones, and actually what you're hearing as well, you're hearing both microphones at the same time. So okay, one by one, let me mute monitoring. So let's mute monitoring on the Neewer. Okay, so now what you're hearing is just the MXL. My face is probably about 10 inches away from the MXL. And about the same distance away from the Neewer, from the NW-800. So let's switch over and let's hear the Neewer again. Okay, so this is just the Neewer, you know, scooting in a little bit closer to it here. I am assuming it does have some sort of a windscreen kind of built into it. Now, my mouth is not blowing directly into the grill. It's a little bit below the grill, but it has just a little bit of a different mid-range kind of character than the MXL does. You know, one thing that I was really afraid of with these really super cheap kind of Chinese capsules that are in these types of mics is that they tend to have just a really overhyped high frequency to them, and I don't really detect that on this one. If I give a little kind of sibilance to it. Yeah, it doesn't just like, blow me out or anything. I got it pretty loud in my headphones here. All right, let's switch back to the MXL, take a quick listen to that. Okay, and yeah, actually, I think I like the way the MXL sounds a little bit better. It does have a little bit more of that kind of high frequency kind of air to it a little bit. Kind of, accentuates kind of the raspiness in my voice a little bit. It's got a little bit more of a low end to it as well. I know that the MXL is what they would call a mid diaphragm condenser. It's like a 3/4 inch capsule, not the full 1 inch that like a true studio style would have. But yeah, you can hear it like it's definitely picking up more sibilance. There is definitely no windscreen that I know of inside of this thing, so if I get too close to it and talk directly into it, you'll start getting those plosives. Like every time I make a P or a B sound, you get that puff of air. Right, yeah, exactly like that. Let's try it again over here on the Neewer. Okay, so we get in really close to the Neewer, and actually it's kind of distorting a little bit. That may be, I may have it just turned up a little bit too much on my preamp there, but if I make P or B sounds, like a p, yeah, you get a little bit of that. So, and that's abnormally close. I think with a microphone like this, you're going to want to, stay, keep a couple of fist distance away from it, or put a windscreen. If you really want to be up close on it, put a windscreen on it, pop filter, and that'll make a lot of difference. But okay, I have to say, for $25, I wouldn't say that this is total garbage. I can't say that I necessarily like it. I have way better microphones. This is not something I would opt to use over any of those. But if you're just looking to get your very first microphone, the Neewer NW-800, and that's what I'm speaking into right now, I don't know, you could do worse. I mean, what else is it competing with at $25? I have a feeling anything else in that price point is just going to be a toy. It seems to be well constructed. It looks like an all-metal housing. It's got a nice kind of weight, nice kind of feel to it. If I were to give this kind of a pass-fail, I'm not exactly sure what I would say. I can't say that I really like the character of it. It's very mid-rangey, and just it has a very kind of distinct mid-range to it. Not a whole lot of low frequency to it, not a whole lot of high frequency to it. It's just kind of focused in that mid there. But, if you're looking for your first maybe podcast mic or your first kind of YouTube mic or something to use over, something you can get closer to your face while you're speaking, I'm not, it's probably not going to make a very great boom mic, so if I distance myself from it a little bit, yeah, that's not too bad. It still sounds pretty roomy. If I put it up against like the audio for my camera, which is, right now a good, 3.5 feet away from me, you're probably going to hear a lot more room in that than you'll hear with this. You could get this close enough to have it out of frame. Still there's going to be better mics suited to that, but if you want something that's going to be in the frame, if you're shooting video, I want something other than your camera audio, or if you just want something for voiceover or something like that, yeah, there's going to be better choices. If $25 is all you have, I would say keep saving, and keep saving until you got $50, and then go buy a Behringer C1. That's going to blow either of these microphones out of the water, in my opinion. All right, well, that's about all I've got time for today. I just wanted to give kind of a quick rundown of this one, a quick comparison with another mic that's in the budget category. This one I would consider super budget. Not quite as bad as I thought it would be. Still not great, but I think it'll get the job done if you're in a pinch. All right, hey, well, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.